All right. Currently looking for my fractal productivity template for the day. Let's see, fractal. All right, figuring out some audio issues here. All right, figuring out some audio issues here. That should be coming through stream. Man, the sound is not good. Okay. Man, the sound is not good. All right, that's better. Give me a minute, chat. Figuring out audio. Settings. Stream. Audio. Desktop audio device. Maybe that's it.
Oh, that needs to be music. Okay. Streamlabs, OBS. Oh, is that it? Now they're producing sound. Oh, that's because stream is way up. There we go. Oh well, I'll figure it out later. I have music in the background that I can hear, but for some reason it's not coming through stream. So if I'm bopping my head, that's because I'm hearing music. All right, off to the races. Bob, yes, I am recording this. YouTube automatically records it under live streams. All right. Hey Siri, text my trophy wife.
What do you want to say?
Do you have any calendar items that I need to add into my week? Question mark.
Your message to my trophy. Okay, it's sent.
All right. Oh, don't need to do this yet. Oh. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to be a little confused now because everything this is the first time that I've really done this since I've moved everything around. So nothing's where it used to be. Let's see, I'm headed to hashtag sprint. Okay. So I'm just making sure all my tasks for the week are completed. Then I'm going to track them in Sprint, in my Scrum going to record the Scrum data in Excel. That's what I want to say. Track story points, 251. I'm going to jump into Excel here. Hello. There we go. It's actually for track my work story points now. $68. Let me try this. I want music to play through Spotify. To play through. I'm going to control it there. Oh, there it is. Now, can I control it from here? Gonna be system, I guess. Oh, that's what I want to do. Okay, let's this needs to be wavelength music. And then wavelength music needs to be Realtek audio. Is that right? Audio input. No, I want audio output. Where's it going to? I am not a sound technician, but I bought this awesome mic, and I still have to learn this software to how to manage the sound. It's auxiliary 1. I want this to be music. Okay, whatever. Notes tab. So right now I'm going through all of my UCDs, making sure, actually I need to add a new UCD because I've added one. So this needs to be my UCD Workflowy node. Phone notes. Alright, so rubber mallet. Awesome. Hey Siri, create a note. That's a useful note.
What do you want it to say?
Yes. Okay. Send out a text to somebody who I need to meet with this week. I am pretty flexible this week, period. When would you like to meet to take a look at your job, question mark? Okay. just checking my email and make sure that there's nothing I need to deal with. Okay. And then I go back through my texts from this week and make sure that there's nothing I need to do. Alright, let me see if I can figure this out right quick. You guys are just hearing me talk, and that sounds boring to me. Alright. You guys are just hearing me talk, and that sounds boring. Okay. Let's see if I can get some sound running through my. So I'm going to do a search for. Spotify to play on YouTube stream through Gato Wave link. Well, it's on Streamlabs OBS. Come on, Google. How to use Elgato Wavelength with Spotify. Yeah, I know how to do that. How do I play Spotify on Streamlabs OBS? Okay, let's try that. Oh, maybe that's the issue. Okay, let's try that. Add source. Audio output capture, maybe? That's not what I need. Oh. Wait, what did he say? Windows capture? Let's try that. Add source. Window capture. Add source. All right, let's see what that does. No. No, come on.
Let's see what that does. No.
Spotify, capture method. See, that's showing up audio. That's not what I want to show up. Yeah, no, that's not right. I want to add audio input capture, maybe. And source. Maybe. Are we getting close? Wavelength monitor, mic in, wavelength stream. Default. Let's try default. Done.
To add audio input capture.
So I actually want the stream mix. Select wavelength stream as the audio source in your favorite wavelength stream. That's what I need to do. Right there, right there, right there. Let's try that. As your what? Audio source. Audio wavelength stream. Done. this is just an inbox. I've got inboxes. I don't want to hear myself. There we go. I've got inboxes in a notebook, a little 3x5 card holder that I have. This is my list of UCDs right here, ubiquitous capture devices. These are just all my inboxes and things like that. My notes tab is in my notebook. Phone notes is iCloud notes from my iPhone. Pocket Place is my wallet that goes to Evernote. A lot of stuff goes in Evernote, so I just sort of look at those. And I have a physical inbox, an email inbox, text, which is just my set of texts. And then I just added this CD, which I'll just read it. And so I can just drop anything in there that I want to. If I just have an idea while I happen to be on this board, then I can throw it in there. Then all I do is I just look at the question. The GTD question is, what does this mean to me? So I create all the things. And I just say, I know what I'm going to do that, but what does it mean in terms of my system? Brainstorm, is it a calendar, is it a task, is it part of the project? But I know what it means. Essentially what it means is, you know, I operate a certain way and I want to try and operate fruitfully in the world around me. And an artifact is just basically something that's left behind because I was there. But I want to be more intentional about that. And I have been being more intentional about that in the last couple of weeks since I've kind of thought of things that way. So I don't know what that means in terms of there we go. Alright, I'll jump into my knowledge vault. It's just an idea. It's an idea that I want to questions about anything respond. So my chat's over there on this screen, so I'll just be glancing at it once in a while. And the concept of Scrum ceremony artifacts. Artifacts, there we go. Links. So that's what that means to me. I'm going to jump back to here and I'm going to delete that. Review 138 hours is actually going to be a flotsam item. So that's going to be basically, that was just a task. I want to review a particular book, and so I turned it into the task right here on my inbox, and then sent it over to Flotsam, and here it is. I use WFX Power Pack move to node mechanic to do that. Gracie's flower press for Mother's Day. That is also. Send materials. That is also a flotsam item. So at computer, at Gracie, S8 is the story points I'm assigning to it. And then I'm going to move to Flotsam, switch over to Edge, and back up WFX shortcuts. I'm so irritated by this situation. Chrome has deleted WFX from the extension store. So right here it keeps on toggling off, and I use it all the time. So I'm not going to do that right now, but that is a Flotsam item. I don't know how long it's going to take this time, I guess. There we go. Okay, here's something I'm going to try out. I don't know how this is going to work. So I created a backlink because in my journal log last April, whatever, so essentially what this is, I'm in process of trying to figure this particular thing out. So I was in my journal, like in this form back April 22nd, so 2 days ago. One thing I try to do is every morning on my way to work, I just open up this Workflowy node and I try to come up with 3 brand new ideas. And usually I do that by taking 2 ideas and just kind of mulling them over, 2 seemingly disparate ideas that have nothing to do with each other. And I just ponder them to see if I can come up with. So maybe I would take how I interact with customers and candy sales. I can just come up with 2 ideas. I usually try and make them as completely random as possible. And then I just think about just think about that like for 30 minutes and take notes of my thoughts. So that's what this is. And so once I did it, I realized I don't want that just to be embedded in my journal. I actually want to process that. So I put it into my inbox by embedding it to inbox. So that's why it's here. And then I wonder what will happen if so that's a mirror. I want to delete that one. There's not really much I want to do with that. So I just delete that mirror. I understand the first principles of how I operate best before I press button, then analyze and then discover. Okay, so that's this actually. I've already done that. Oh, yeah. Good job, Frank G. Okay, I want to take that right there. Gonna copy. Gonna jump to Knowledge Vault. And that's a new Zettelcast. It's just an intriguing thought. I said something about being 47, and Frank said that he heard one time somebody say a 47-year-old, or whatever the age was just a 20-year-old with 27 years experience. Sources, Frank G. Identification. Tags. Introduce yourself. Whenever he said that, I thought that was pretty interesting. I really still feel I'm 47 years old, but I roughly still feel like I did when I was 25. Like at that point, I kind of felt like I matured. I don't know what to say about that. It's just how I feel. So whenever he said that, I was like, yeah, I probably feel like a 25-year-old with 22 years of experience. Almost like I kind of fully developed by the time I was 25 in a sense. And then I stopped internally developing or something. That's not quite right because I keep on learning, but stopped changing. Kind of found myself at 25, and then I've kind of stayed that kind of person. But now I have 22 years of experience as that kind of person, if that makes sense. I just thought it was an interesting concept. So I caught it, and so I'm going to jump back. Well, here we go. I'm going to jump back in. This is interesting to me, so this is actually just had the thought that the reason I enjoy the Workflowy Slack group so much is it's a group of people who share a very particular experience, which is people that have found Workflowy particularly useful. So I've enjoyed that community with that commonality. Can you guys hear the music on your end? I don't know if you have the sound turned up, but I'm curious. I think you can, but let me know in the chat if you can. So there we go. I have now processed all my inboxes. Okay, so this is what I'm doing right now just in general, is I'm debriefing my week from last week. So going through my inboxes, getting them to inbox 0. I want to make sure all the photos on my phone have gone to Google Photos. So I just open up Google Photos on my phone and it automatically uploads it. And I just go through and see if there's any particular photos that I want to add to albums. Doesn't look like there is. A lot of times that's job related. Like if I'm taking pictures on a job, I will add those to the job album. Finish this very interesting book by Josh Waitzkin, who was, I think, the youngest grandmaster, at least in American history, maybe in world history. And then I think he was like 20, 21, 22. He went on to become a world champion in push hands, and now he's doing mixed martial arts. And what he discovered, he thought he just loved chess, but what he actually realized is he loved learning. And once he got to the edge of learning and became like a world grandmaster or world champion, whatever, in chess, like he kind of lost interest in it. And then went and found something else to learn. And so he wrote a whole book about his approach to learning, which was just really super fascinating. So, read that. Let's see on script. I read books last week. Oh yeah, two things that I export. daily. Alright, now what I'm doing is I'm updating all my Scrum. And I'm going through this is my flywheel forward debriefing my week. There 251, work 68. And across the top is all this. This is since back in 2017 I started tracking my Scrum data this way, so do this every week. So it's all Dunkel, so 68. And I track every job, story point for each job for the week. There we go. Alright, that's done. So I've tracked all my Scrum data. Oh, I shouldn't have closed that. Too quick, Dave. sprint. I try and do that Friday night usually when I get home. And then I start my next sprint this morning on Saturday morning or Saturday evening. So yeah, that's that moment when I finish that. Actually, no, I don't. Yeah, so I do a search train and sprint. And this is so this is a template. If I go forward in time to the next week, it looks just the same pretty much unless there's a particular appointment that's this side. So I've got a dentist appointment, for example, it's Tuesday, but this is pretty much my weekly schedule for pretty much every week. And I modify it a little bit at this point. It's really fitting particular location. You know, if I'm taking off Friday or something from work, I'll just look at it. Try to do whatever that day. Man, I haven't been in a bladder tank. That's problematic. Last week I experimented with actually inserting tasks into a calendar inside Workflowy, so the mirrors are showing up there. So I'll go do it again here. This should fix it. Madeline, can you turn off the music? I can't hear you. That's very fascinating. Thank you, Madeline. Can you not hear me at all? Or just not very well? Turn it way down. That's super helpful. Thank you, Madeline. Test, test, test. Yeah. Turning it way down. Madeline, tell me if that's better. If you really think I should turn it off completely, I can. So in theory, I just turn the music way down. That's streaming. That's going through the stream. So that'll work. Let me know if you want me to turn it off. That is helpful. I've got this new piece of software for this mic that I haven't figured out to use. So I will. Actually, tell me this. I'm gonna mute music on stream. And you tell me if that's what I just did. Turn off the music. I honestly don't know. Because I'm still figuring out this software. This is the first time I've actually tried playing music on stream. So we'll try that. You can tell me if that worked or not. Your voice is in the background. Alright, that should have fixed it. I just turned off Spotify, so I guess now tell me if my voice is coming in clearly. If you would, I would appreciate it. Jerry, oh hey buddy. I'm assuming you're Jerry from the Workflowy Slack group. So now I've turned the music off, so let me know if it's still playing, because maybe I've got music playing and I just can't hear it because it's going straight to stream or something. That's really good feedback, thank you. All right. Next, so now I'm starting with my sprint planning. So essentially what you're seeing here is everything that is on Workflowy. This is my, okay, Madeline. Your voice sounds like an echo. All right, next, let's see if I can figure that out. My voice sounds like an echo. Oh, I bet I know why too. That would be in Streamlabs. I bet it's because of this. I'll just turn this off. Yes. All right. Maybe that'll work. Make sure all my other audio inputs are turned off. Robot voice. That's what I was going for, Jerry. Let's see. I want to turn that on. No, I don't want to turn that on. There we go. All right. Let me know if that solves the echo problem, as much as I like having a robot voice. All right, so what I was saying before those helpful comments was this is my perfect. Oh, finally, thank you. I really appreciate your help on that. I've only streamed a couple of times, and this is the first time I've streamed with this piece of software, so I'll obviously have to do a lot more research on that. All right, so what I'm showing you here, and also tell me if I'm like too loud or too close to the mic or whatever. Everything that's on my calendar I sound nice and clear. Thanks. Everything that's on my calendar is also here as a task. So for example, Saturday. So I'll just take update sprint queue list for the week. That's what I'm doing, which is right here. I'm way behind today because I was up until midnight last night, and as a 47-year-old, that doesn't work for me anymore. So weekly planning is here on the calendar, and it's here, update sprint queue list for the week. So I created a template so that everything that's here except for sleep, basically, is also in my Workflowy task list for the week. And then I search for next sprint. And I tag, or I select all of those. And I cancel. Remove that, and then I tag them all for sprint. All right, now, so by doing that, every task, and this, again, this is in my weekly flywheel, which I just reset that checklist and uncompleted all the completed items. So that gets my weekly flywheel ready for the coming week. I go in, select next sprint, and then to all of the things that have next sprint in them, I add sprint. And so what that means is everything that's currently on my calendar, except for work, which I'll define the term for, I'll define that as a part of what I'm doing right now, is currently in my sprint. So I've got the task there, it's on my calendar, so they reflect each other. So I'm going to pop this back up here now. I'm going to go to Saturday. And you'll see, so today's Saturday. So I pull that up, and inside of Saturday is update sprint queue list for the week, which is what I'm doing right now. So I'll go ahead and jump into that. And let's see. I just made a switch. What do I want to do about that? I don't use this exact flywheel anymore. I'm using an experimental flywheel under my fractal productivity weekly time management flywheel. I'm going to make a mirror of this. Alt-Shift-M. So back in November, I started playing around with what I'm doing right now as far as creating a new way that I do my weekly planning. And in January, I finalized the flywheel. And I'm now going in and replacing I don't like doing that. And I'm going to paste, and then I'm going to change this. So what this means, so that system was in development, but never got, while it was in development, it stayed in the development node. And so I just kept on, anytime I do my weekly planning, I go in there, use that, play around with it, modify, what I did. Next, sprint. All right, so that's now my new one. But now it's not in development anymore. I've completed the flywheel. So this is actually my weekly planning flywheel. So I've reviewed last week's logs, and then I just brought in my weekly calendar template, pulled in calendar and Workflowy. So that's what I just showed you. Let me see if my wife texted me back with any. I had asked her earlier if she had any. I said, do you have any calendar items that I need to add into my week? And she said no. Okay, so just want to make sure if she had something that I needed to have on my calendar that I would. So that's done. Hard landscape solidified. So this is what this means when I say hard landscape solidified. It means me just looking at my calendar. And so, for example, I've got a dental appointment. Why this is popping up is because the item I'm changing is part of my weekly template. And so going forward, it's asking me, do I want to change this just this week, or do I actually want to change the template going forward? And that's just this event, because I fortunately don't have to go to the dentist every week. And then I just kind of think about my week. Think about, is there anything that I need to keep in mind? Is there any particular plans for work? Do I want to work a full work week, or do I want to take a day off? So I just take a few minutes and kind of glance over everything to decide if it's, the way I want it to look at the beginning, which it is. So I'm good. But occasionally, like, I will have pulling Gracie's calendar. Make sure there's nothing on her calendar that needs to affect me particularly. No. And like, I watch the North Carolina Tar Heels, so occasionally there will be a game, so I might go in and modify my plan for that particular day if there was a Tar Heel game that night. Or if the Auburn Tigers are playing, because I don't watch that, but my family does. I couldn't care less about football. But I live in Alabama, where everybody cares about football. So, anyway, that looks pretty good to me as a preliminary start for my calendar. So that's my hard landscape solidified. Then what am I doing for work this week? So what I do there is I jump into going to make this bigger. I'm looking through here, and if there's something that I know I need to get done, my big job I'm working on is the Dunkel job. So the way I process my weekly plan is through the lens of my calendar. I used to do it through the lens of my tasks, and that, for somebody like me, was just not a really good fit at all. I ended up trying to dump too much into my week by a wide margin, like 2 or 3 times as much, because I would look at something and my question is, do I want to do it this week? And the answer was almost always yes. But by doing it through the lens of my calendar, what the first question is, do I have time? What do I have time for? And then once I've filled that up, that's the end. So I've created my flywheel to make sure I put the most important things in first, and then fill in the chunks around that, these white spots. So I'm going through these through my work and assigning what I'm planning on doing. So I know in general I'm going to be working every day at the Dunkel job, and there's a few other smaller items I'm going to work around there. I wonder if you guys are hearing that rain. It's raining pretty loud. So I'm going to simplify this. This is just a big paint job. We've got 5 rooms to paint, so I'm just going to paint. I'm just going to make it pretty simple. And that's going to be this. And then I'm just going to copy and drag that 5 times. Because every day I'm going to be working there pretty much all day. And then I'm going to go in and update that. For all of these. Come on. I just got a text from a homeowner I need to meet this week, and she said she would like to meet me. I try and send out requests for information so that the information comes back to me by the time I'm doing this, so I can make a pretty thorough plan for the week. So I try and on Friday or Saturday first thing in the morning send out any text for information I need in order to know what I need to include. Get off work at 4:30 and it takes me less than 5 minutes to get home. Would that work for you one day? So yes is the answer. I've got a meeting. Why is that not on here? I've got a meeting. When? There it is. Tuesday, 4/27, 6:30 to 9:30. Tuesday the 27th, 6:30 to 9:30. That's a lie. Hey, buddy. so I will jump into here. You wet? You smell wet. Did you get wet in the rain?
Yeah.
Where were you?
Outside looking for Tasty.
Let's see, is this Zoom? Nope, in town. Hashtag town. S21. All right, so anytime I add something to the calendar, I make sure I add it into, as I'm doing this process, I make sure I add it into my Workflowy. Or if I'm adding something into Workflowy, I make sure it's on my calendar. So right now, everything that's currently, except for Flotsam Dentist. Actually, that would be, yeah. That would be Tuesday at 9 a.m. Okay. So everything that's currently on here is also on here. And so any of the extra stuff, do I want to do that? Yeah, I do. All right. So I'll be in town that day anyway, so let's bump this up. Move this down to here, which means I'll be dropping late at night. Blick. That's fine. And then there we go. So I'll jump into Woods. I just scheduled the first look, and there's the first look. And I'm going to change that to a 5. Anyway, so now I just look at anything else and decide what I need to do. Cruise. First look. So right now I'm just going to dump this in here. I'm not going to sort where it's going to be for the moment. Cruise cost analysis. And that's taken care of. I need to and nothing. That's actually done, so I can archive that to reference. Just finish this job, so I'm going to drop that into Sunday maybe, and work. All right, so there's my work planning. I love this system. It's so easy for me. So what am I doing for work this week? That's done. What am I doing that is expected that I need to renegotiate now? So for example, I I've got a dentist appointment scheduled. If for some reason there was a conflict so that I couldn't get there, then I would just set a voice message or a reminder for me to call them Monday morning. But there's not really anything that I need to reschedule this week. So that's done. What else is urgent or important that or has a deadline that I need to meet this week? So that's where I go into Flotsam. And when is Mother's Day? Sunday, May 9th. We're here, so it's 2 weeks away. Okay. So yeah, I do need to Hey Siri, ask my trophy wife. No, don't ask me trophy wife anything. Hey Siri.
Hi. It's nice to meet you.
Text my trophy wife.
What do you want to say?
Where did you send me the plans for that flower press that you want? Question mark.
Your message to my trophy wife says, okay, it's sent.
So I'm going to build my wife a flower press for Mother's Day. And I'm going to do it this week. There we go. It's going to take probably a couple hours. Something like this I'm not going to put on my calendar. It's literally just walking through my garage and grabbing a rubber mallet and bringing it out to my truck. So that'll just be on my to-do list. Oh my gosh, I need to get that done. I'm late. Don't tell Jackson County. I need to get my tags renewed, and that's going to take me, for Pete's sakes, 2 hours, maybe more. So you see I'm just dropping things in here now. Anything I put on here, I'll drop into my calendar. And then before I'm done, I'll figure out when and where am I going to do those things. So if it's during work hours, I'll have to modify Dunkel Paint and make space for it for these other projects. So I'll do that here in a few minutes. I don't even know what to do about the lawnmower. Got an old lawnmower, riding lawnmower, and it's broken. I don't think you can get parts for it. So I may need to get a new one. One way or the other, I need to get mulch. I'm going to just plan on doing both those things this week. And heck yeah, I want to do that. All right, that's it. And then flywheels. So I've already got all of my weekly flywheel stuff that is part of my next action. So that's all of these will be for my next sprint. Those are just automatically pulled in. Every single one in there has next sprint attached to it. So all that stuff is already in there. Then I've got some depends. It just depends on the situation. So like, if one of us is sick, we'll do online church. But if I think we're all pretty well, so we'll just be going to church this week. So basically, these are just things I may want to do during the week. So for example, if the kids are home from school, I want to make sure Gracie gets a night away as a break. But they're in school, so that's not something we'll need to worry about this week. Yes. I will text Jared. Oh, come on. There we go. Jared, okay. Hey Jared, this is Dave Clark from Southwood. Period. You want to grab lunch someday this week? ? I am pretty flexible every day except for Tuesday and Friday, if you're available. So I'm going to drop that onto my calendar, even though I don't know exactly when we'll be meeting, but it'll be there, so I know I'll need to move it around. All right. Oh, yeah. So I am going to be writing. There we go. So flotsam is it's just miscellaneous, so like it comes from the actual definition of the word flotsam. To me, it's just a picture, the wreckage of a ship or its cargo found floating on or washed up by sea. So it's just like all the miscellaneous stuff. So it's basically just next actions that aren't associated with a project. Let's see, where was I? Yeah, so I need to make sure I have writing on there. Right now, just like some things are, do I feel like doing some of these things? There are things I want to be reminded that I might want to do during the week. But I think, you know what, I need to work in my garage because it's freaking ridiculous. But I think half an hour in my garage will be plenty. Sure thing, Jerry. All right, that's it. The rest, okay, so basically at this point, I've got everything on my calendar that's like, not things that are just important, but everything on my calendar that I kind of need to make sure I have on my calendar. And so now it's a matter of finding when do I want to do this stuff. So I don't want to do that this morning, but What time does the Jackson County, Alabama tag office open? I know it's closed. 8 a.m. Okay. So I will plan on being at the tag office at, we'll say 8:30, because that's a half an hour drive. And then it's a half an hour drive to that job. All right. So that's what I do. I just take these things that I've kind of dropped on top of other things and decide when do I want to do that. Build the flower press is something I'm going to do at night. So I'll probably, here's an open slot for it. And move that back up. So that's going to be a short work day. Load, trailer, and lawnmower. Besides the fact that I don't want to do it. When are you going to do that, Dave? Hey Siri, text my trophy wife.
What do you want to say? What do you want to say?
Did you ever hear from Jason about the mulch? Question mark.
Your message to my okay, it's sent.
All right, I will wait to hear back from her. Because we need some mulch for our landscaping beds, but her brother, who lives about a mile away, said he might have some for us. All right. Yeah, I'll just wait on her. Hodges door repair. How about this? Okay. Okay. Tennis. See what the weather's going to be like this week on Wednesday. Hey Siri, text Chris Hodges.
What do you want to say?
Hey Chris, do you want to try for tennis this week? Question mark. It looks like it should be a decent day.
Your message to Chris Hodges says, "Hey Chris, do you want to try for tennis this week?" Okay, it's sent.
Okay. I guess I need to turn Siri off on my iPad. Actually, I think I'll turn it off altogether. There we go. Hey Siri, text Chris Hodges.
What do you want to say?
Also, I was thinking about the door that needs repairing, and at the end, when I realized what the problem was, I realized afterwards that that would be a pretty easy thing to repair and get the door back into really good shape, period. I think I'll try that first, and if there's still a problem, I'll buy a new door and install it. But I think it will be as good as new when I'm done with it.
Your message to Chris Hodges says, "Also, I was thinking about the door that needs repairing, and at the end, when I realized what the problem was, I realized afterwards that that would be a pretty a shame. I think I'll try that first, and if there's still a problem. Okay, it's sent.
Hey Siri, text Chris Hodges.
What do you want to say?
Would it work for me to come and do that on...
Your message to Chris Hodges says, would it work for me to come and do that on?
Here we go.
Ready to send it?
Where'd it go? I know I put it on
Message
here.
to Chris Hodges says, would it work?
Be quiet. I know I just had it. There it is. Hey Siri, text Chris Hodges. Would it work for me to come out and do that Wednesday morning? Question mark.
Your message to Chris Hodges says, would it work for me to come out and do that Wednesday morning? Ready to send it?
It shouldn't be too disruptive, ellipsis. I can just pop that door off, work on it in the garage, and then put it back on once it's repaired.
Your message to Chris Hodges says it shouldn't be too disruptive. I can just pop that door off work.
Would it work for me to come out and do that on Wednesday morning around 9 o'clock? Period. All right. And then cost analysis. I need to get that done. But when? Okay. All right, so that's pretty much kind of shows me my week at this point. And I try and leave. You can see there's these open slots here. And that's what I call margin. So I'm leaving margin in my week. Don't want to fill my week up too far. Because if I do, I won't get it all done. But the nice thing is, so let's say that I don't get Gracie's flower press built, or it takes longer than a couple of hours, hour and a half, then I know I've got some open slots here the rest of this week that I can fill things with. So if something disrupts my day, which actually what I need to do is make sure I have some space for this, because I didn't do that this morning. Yeah, so that's pretty much all the stuff I have to do now on my task list, and my calendar are synced. And then the question is there anything else that I want to include in my week? And really, honestly, I like the spacing on this. I like to leave plenty of spaces, but if there is something that's going to take half an hour that I want to include in my week, then I just look at my project list. And the big thing that I want to get done is I want to write an article this week. So I've already got that included. I've got about 4 hours dedicated to that. So that's kind of the big thing. Other than just work and regular stuff. That's kind of it. I just look over my project list and make sure there's not anything that triggers me wanting to get that done. You know what I would do want to do is I want to take my wife on a date. Hey Siri, text Marmy.
What do you want to say?
Actually, no. Hey Siri, call my trophy wife.
Calling Gracie Clark. Mobile.
Hey there, hottie. What'd you think about going on a date Thursday night? Yes. You want to touch base with your sister or mom and see if kids can hang out there?
Yeah.
Or would you like me to do that?
I can do it.
Okay. Well, put it down on your calendar, and I'm going to put it down on my calendar.
All right. Okay.
Sweet. All right. Bye. All right. Nice. Take my wife on a date. Which means none of this. With Gracie. I guess I can assume it's with Gracie. Don't take anybody else on a dates. And that'll go club calendar. All right. That is a good idea. All right, let's go into flywheels. Pens. See if do I have that in there. Well. There we go. All right. So here's a question I asked myself at this point. What is one thing I can do this week such that if it was done will make things in the future easier or unnecessary? You know what one thing is that I can do is clean my truck. It's not too messy, but it's gotten a little cluttered, so I'll go into Flotsam. What else? Go to the barber. Yes, it's time. It's under flywheels. Should be in here someplace. No, it's monthly. I don't usually go, or I haven't typically gone to a barber. Usually my wife cuts my hair, but somebody gave me a gift certificate to the Greasy Hands Barbershop in Huntsville. And it was so awesome. Book appointment. To continue booking, click here. Okay. Haircut and beard trim. Jacob. Tuesday. What's Tuesday look like? I wish it wasn't Tuesday, but that's fine. Tuesday's the only day, huh? All right, so that's going to be a short day because I am going to schedule one for 4:30. Where's the woods? Let's see, Bailey Cove Estates. Where are they? 4 Mile Post, Carl T. Jones. Okay. So, Tuesday. I need to be there. I think I'll just plan on, see, 9 to 11:30. Continue. I don't know if I have a Reserva account. Okay, 11:30. Tuesday 27th at 11:30. Check. Then I just have a bunch of questions, and I've kind of dumped them here as things to think about when I'm doing my weekly planning, and eventually they may creep more durably. It's almost midnight, Jerry. Nice. Thanks for stopping by, buddy. I'll see you on the Slack group. What do I want to do that's consistent with who I am? Are there things I can do, not do, work toward to create margin in the tasks? What can I add into my week that would make it a very enjoyable week? There we go. You know what? It's going to be a pretty fun week already. Looking forward to it. And that's one of the things I try to do, if possible, is I try to create a week that I just look forward to. Number one, the job I'm working on is just painting, which I love. It's just painting walls. So prepping and painting walls. So that's a lot of fun. Getting together with a buddy. Getting a haircut at a really good barbershop. Going to the dentist. It'll feel good after that. I'll be writing. I've got a couple of coaching sessions this week. So, yeah. So I'm looking forward to this week. But if it's a week, like if the work I'm doing is not particularly enjoyable, or like if there's something about the week that I'm not looking forward to, I'll take a few minutes and see if I can just add in a couple of items that'll be like little bright spots in the week I can look forward to. So like the date night. Like if it was going to be a pretty hard week, I would try and make sure I had a date night in there or whatever. Yeah, and for a particularly hard week, I'll try to create an energy overlay. It's kind of a weird way of saying it, but if I know it's going to be a hard week, or if there's a lot of hard stuff in there, which there's really nothing hard in my week this week, but if it's going to be a particularly stressful week, I'll kind of go in, I'll like literally print it out and like go on with a highlighter to show where the hard spots are and just kind of analyze my week from that perspective to see is there something I can do to prep for the hard days. Make sure I get enough sleep the night before if I have a hard meeting or something. Also, I do this thing called state change. I'll talk about it for just a minute here. I'll pop up my board. And right here under my capture resources is a state change check-in. So I'll just go ahead and do one right now, just to show you. Why won't you let me drop it there? There we go. So this has been an incredibly useful tool. I'll pop right into it. So essentially what I do is a lot of times at transitions, I found the way I work doesn't work too well because I don't naturally transition from one thing to the next very well. And a piece of why that is often I don't want to change states. So if I'm relaxed sitting on the couch talking to Gracie, and the next thing I need to do is driving to town for a meeting, or like stop talking to her and go and fix something in the house. So I'm changing situations, but I find that often the reason I'm reticent to shift gears and transition is because of the state I'm in. So I might be like super, let's see, like super mellow right here. Let me zoom in on this. Might be feeling super mellow, just sitting there drinking a beer, talking to Gracie. But what I actually need to do is bump up my energy. So this is kind of going in this direction is pleasantness, and then going up is energy. So I might need to go from mellow to focused, for example. But if I'm just mellow and I think about going to, fix a complicated situation, like fix my truck, change my brakes or whatever on my truck. If I try to do that in transition while I'm feeling super mellow, I'm just not going to do it. I'm just going to sit there and talk to Gracie for hours, which is great. But if I actually need to get the work done, I find that while I'm sitting there, if I can change my state before I stand up, that by changing my state, it will drive me to stand up. So for example, if I'm like, okay, next I really need to go out and work on the truck, I'll pull out Spotify and put on some upbeat music that makes me feel like moving. And that state change pulls me to the next activity. So I really use this to kind of solve problems for myself. If I find that I'm in a situation and it dawns on me that, I'm just not in a good state for this particular upcoming meeting. Like if I'm really, really sleepy, for example, but I have a meeting that starts at 6 o'clock at night, sleepy and late night meeting is not a good combo. So I need to change my state to prep for the new situation. So I might go and get a big McDonald's drive-through Coke, to get or a cup of coffee, or take a 5-hour in fact, a lot of times I've got this monthly meeting that runs from 6:30 to almost midnight, and I will take a 5-hour energy around 6 o'clock at night to change my state. I'll also, if I'm like feeling just kind of groggy, really sleepy, wishing I could take a nap, but I'm going to this meeting, go ahead, take a 5-hour energy, crank up some music on my phone that's super high energy to change my state as I'm driving to the meeting. So I enter the meeting with energy and focus. So, so that's what that state change check-in is, so create an energy overlay for my week. What that means is sometimes I can predict what state I'll be in and what state I'll need to be in for certain things. And especially if I know it's going to be kind of complicated emotionally or stressful or whatever, I can actually plan on Saturday, okay, I probably need to take off early that day and go and do something enjoyable right before to kind of build up my energy if I'm going into a stressful conflict management situation or something. So yeah, that's what that create an energy overlay for my week is, just kind of trying to think about that. I really don't need to do that too often. Since I've transitioned jobs from project management to primarily hands-on painting and carpentry, my weeks have just been really pretty low-key and relaxed and enjoyable for the most part. That was much more necessary when I was project managing multiple jobs, dealing with a lot of subcontractors. There was a lot of conflict, a lot of problem resolution that needed to happen. So that was what that idea of create an energy overlay for the week. Yeah, so I'm pretty happy. I mean, most of these are, if I still am not happy with where my calendar is, then I want to modify that. I feel like I added something to. Did I add something? No, I've added barber. Yeah, so that's all on there. Okay, so I'm basically done with my planning for the week. Then I'll go into, where's Trello? Do, do, do. Do, 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 do. All right, so that's the only current job I have going on. Now that I'm painting, I just keep one job at a time, kind of stack them up. So that's done for that week. So that's update Trello boards for next sprint. Need to plug in my gear. All right, so that's kind of my, that's exactly my weekly planning. Severe weather statement. One moment, please. Severe thunderstorm warning, okay. All right, so that's my weekly planning. That's done for the week. Now for my day, so Saturday's always a little goofy because I haven't done my planning for the week. Therefore, I can't really do my planning for the day. So what I do now is I go into projects, and then I search sprints. So this is all the things that are currently on my calendar that I've also added to my task list. So there they all are. So that's my weekly plan. And then I go into today, make sure I see any. So Saturday's always pretty low key around here. Saturdays and Sundays both. But what I do is, like for Monday, I'll actually look at my calendar to decide, okay, what's on my calendar. I make sure that I tag those things for the day. So today I am not doing a whole lot. So I just scan down my list. I can do that. And all the things for Saturday weekly flywheel. Then I drop down to other to see if there's anything. Maybe I'll read to Gracie today. 4:57. Yeah, I can do that tonight. And oh, there is a project I want to work on. Okay. I'm going to tag this within process. There is another project I want to work on. Let me think about that for a minute. Right there. Boom, shakalaka. Okay. All right. That's actually something I'm super excited about. I'm glad I thought about that. All right, so now I'm going to go in and search for in process. This is what I usually do, except for Saturday. I do this the night before typically. And I select them all. Deselect that header, and then I mirror them all. Alt-Shift-M. And all right, so what I just did was I'd gone into all the tasks that were associated with my, what the actual heck is that? Oh. So I'd gone into my sprint plan by searching for hashtag SBR, which is what I added to all the tasks that I want to do this week. So that scales down what I'm looking at to just the things that I'm planning on doing this week. And then I go through that and add in whatever I want to do today. I tag that hashtag INP for in process. I mirrored them and put them in my next actions list. So usually the night before, today was a super relaxed day. So I didn't get to this until this afternoon. But then I just go through. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so I can see them all at one shot. And already played Fortnite. That's done. Need to plug my gear in next. So I've got a wireless keyboard and mouse, by the way. Logitech MX Master 2S. They sell a 3S, I think, right now. This is the mouse that I use. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It has 7 buttons, but the magic thing about this is it's software driven. So each button can be bound to 5 different actions. So if I push on, so there's a button, is showing up? Yeah, so there's a button right here that you can push with your thumb. There's also 2 buttons here. There's one there, there's an extra one there, and then there's the 2 regular buttons. If I push down on the thumb button and swipe left, or swipe right, or swipe up or down, or just push it, each of those you can bind a different action. So for example, if I want to do a search, so I'm gonna push down on the thumb button and push up, and you'll see it just put the basically I bound escape to that button when I swipe up. So it's a gesture mouse. If I swipe sideways, you won't see it on screen, but it just popped up my search, my window search, so I can search for a program. To complete an item, I just push down that thumb button and swipe right. I'll Control Z. And then down is show complete. and then hide complete. So I bound a bunch of items related to Workflowy to that thumb button. So that's kind of how I do, like if you're watching and all of a sudden like things are happening, but I'm not touching my keyboard, that's because I'm doing it on my mouse. And then I've got a bunch of other, if I'm in projects and I want to expand all, which is ridiculous. I just expanded like 100,000 nodes. And then I push this button, I just tap it and it expands and contracts all. And then like if I want to see the next order of, like if I just want to indent once, indent again, not indent, but like reveal the next indent layer, I just push that button and swipe to the right. So fantastic mouse. I've been used. I have got two of them. One I put in my briefcase, and I'm a big keyboard shortcut person, so that's been. I need to. There we go. So yeah, I say all that because I need to plug this in. It's a wireless mouse, so I just plug that in my. So I've got two keyboards. I've got one. This is my gaming, so I just play Fortnite. That's the only thing I game with, and any content creation like this, I do at this one. So it's all set up. I've got my. I don't know if you can see this. There's a lag in my stream. That's interesting. I've got the Stream Deck, and that's how I manage a lot of stuff, ton of stuff. But among other things, I can change. I can change to this thing right here. I've got a camera there. I can change to just a face cam. I can change just to this face cam. I can toggle my stream off and on. If I want to start streaming Fortnite, I just push a button there and it's got it all set up for me. So yeah, I've got this. Everything here is wired, and then I've got a wireless keyboard and wireless mouse over there. So I've plugged those in. So I need to do that. I'm actually not doing that today. Because these are mirrors, this is a nice thing. Because these are mirrors, and I haven't actually moved the items into my next action list, I can do whatever I want to with them. Yeah, so that's a pretty good order. Why isn't Saturday? Oh, because I completed it, so it didn't show up in the search. Okay, that's fine. So anyway, I can organize these however I want to, and the way I organize them is, so whatever's next pops to the top. So that's true of this flywheel here. So the very next thing I need to complete on my weekly flywheel is drink my water. So cheers. And then once I'm done that, and once I complete it, then I'll track the water in my capture node, Control Z, because I'm not done. And so I just, as I go through my day, of course this is morning, so like I said, it's been a pretty relaxed day. I just kind of go through, and then midday is mostly when I'm at work, but it's just tracking my calories. Like I said, I haven't eaten much today. And then when I arrive home, I've got stuff I want to do to prep for the next morning. So whatever's at the top here is what I'm currently working on for my daily flywheel, then whatever's at the top of my next action. So I just organize those chronologically. And then delete that. And then whatever's at the top here is what I'm currently working on. All right, good enough for that. The next thing I'm going to work on is this right here. I just dragged and dropped this. So this capture log, this is like my primary Workflowy node that I actually operate most of my life from. Like these are the things I'm doing, but I'm in the moment taking action here on the capture node. So if this happened to be a meeting, like right now I'm just live streaming and planning my week, so that's pretty automatic. But if, you could see on my calendar earlier that I've got some meetings, and when I get to that point in my week, I'll, if I happen to be at that point in time now and, had a meeting, I would trigger a new meeting notes, drag that into there, and then I would jump in. And there's my template. So I would just start, I would take notes during the meeting using that. And then, depending on what the meeting was for, so if it was a job-related meeting, I would then embed, say, I'm making this up because this isn't real, but Dunkel job log. And I would embed that. And then if I jump to my Dunkel job log, this is everything I've done on the Dunkel job log. Now, of course, that's not really a meeting for them, but that would show up on the log for that job. I'm going to Control Z because that's not real. But that was just to show you that whatever I'm currently doing is going to show up here at the top of this list, and I'll be operating in there if it's something I need to do at my computer. Obviously, if I'm painting at a job site, I'll note that I'm painting, and then I'll log it to that job log, but then I'll obviously just be rolling paint on the wall, not operating in Workflowy. But anything that is Workflowy related or computer related, I'll be generally doing right here at this top node. So the way that it works for me is because I'm coming here all day, every day, coming to this point on my Workflowy. So of all I think I have 100 and probably, actually I'm curious how many nodes I have right now. 114,659 nodes. So of all the 114,659 nodes, the most important one is right here. Like that's where the rubber actually meets the road of what I'm currently doing at this very moment, and often I'll actually be doing it inside of Workflowy, inside of that node, and then send the information to wherever it needs to go, either via embeds or mirrors. But to get to this node, I come in, I see that, okay, Dave, you need to drink some water. So literally it just reminded me, I mean, even though I'm kind of making this up, by looking at that node, it reminds me of what I'm doing next on the schedule of my day. And then after this, I'll be plugging in my gear. So my eyes come in here, see, oh, remember, Dave, you need to drink water. Oh yeah, plug in your gear. And then I'm headed here, but I've just this morning or last night, I inserted this here. This didn't exist. So it just looked like this. And I'm like, what else, as I'm coming into my Workflowy to get to this particular node, what else do I want to intrude on my consciousness? So I'm just playing around with this right now. If you guys have any suggestions, all three of you, whoever's watching, these are things that, like, this is my daily log. This is my daily flywheel. This is what I'm doing today. But are there things that I want to do that are things that I want to record, think about, process every day that would get inserted into the journal under, at the end of the day, I do a hashtag journal, and I grab all of these and indent them. Okay, so that becomes the journal for this day. And then I just expand my calendar, April. So yesterday, I need to change this. What in the world's happening? What in the world's happening? That was weird. I was trying to actually do my calendar in Workflowy. That didn't work. So that was the last day that I think I had that. So yesterday I have this journal from everything I did yesterday. And that's just a log of meetings I had, tasks I did, kind of like this right here, and that's complete now, so that pops to the top. So at the end of the day, I'll grab this and drag it into there, and then I'll start tomorrow. But my thought is, and so that becomes a log. Anything in here that needs to be in a project list or on a log, I've already embedded the log, so it's created the log in the project or whatever. There we go. But my thought is, I've got this prime real estate right here on my Workflowy board that is going to attract my attention every single time I come into Workflowy to get to the top node of my capture list, because that's where I head into Workflowy to get there to log what I'm doing right now, or to jump into that node if it's a meeting, or if it's time to have like a brainstorm session, or if I'm writing. So like, let's say the next action on this day right here, Monday at 6:15. Let's say it's Monday at 6:15 a.m. right now. So I'll type now and write blog post. Then I would jump inside of it and write the actual blog post. And then that would be sent to content. That'd be sent into a node here. So I'm capturing it here in my daily journal and then sending it where it needs to go, either, depending on the situation, it's either a mirror or an embedded backlink. Because I'm headed to this particular destination, that pulls me, maybe unusually strongly, because I love to capture things. I love to capture information. Like, there's 115,000 nodes in my Workflowy, and recently I archived about 150,000 nodes out of Workflowy. So I'm constantly capturing things. I just love it. I do it all day, every day. Evernote, I think, has about 17,000 notes in it because I'm always capturing. And so I say all that to say, like, I'm very driven to get to do what I'm doing here, because I love capturing what I've done each day, and then kind of like tweets, like you text a tweet and it gets sent off to the world. I like doing things in Workflowy on this capture list and then sending them elsewhere in Workflowy using embeds and different mechanics. Super fun for me, super attractive. That's not hard for me to do at all. It's gonna, like, if I'm doing something, my consciousness is this top node. I'm wanting, if I'm not currently logging it in my capture list, I'm wanting to do it. So I'm very driven, very motivated to get to that. Because of that, my attention comes in and drags across whatever's the top here to get to there. And if it's on my iPhone, it's even more prominent. Like here, I still do that. Like, that's just the order in which my eyes go. But on Workflowy, it literally, it actually shows up. That flywheel is the first thing I look at. I swipe. I see my next actions, which you're seeing on your screen there. And then I'm going to my capture node. So that's what all day, like dozens of times a day, that happens. And so I've been playing around with, is there something else, since that mechanic is happening, I'm trying to get here, and so I'm dragging across, like my attention is pulled this direction in that order. That makes this one of the most important pieces of real estate in my life. Anything that I'm going to do like 30, 40 times a day is scalable. And coming to the top of this capture node is something I do 30 or 40 times a day, which makes anything that I do that's interlinked with that a scalable process. So for example, here I put gratitude log. Like, I think it's important to pay attention to what's good in my life, because I can tend to be conscious of what needs work in my life. It's also important to be conscious of what is working in my life. So if 30 or 40 times a day my eyes drag across this, I see this daily template, or I don't know what I'm going to call it. What I put there is really important. So I'm just playing around with what can I put there? What is it that I want to do every day or be conscious of? Or is there a quote? Like one thing I might do is jump into my Zettelcast and Knowledge Lab, Knowledge Vault, and just scan down through this in order to think, is there anything that I want to be reminded of this week 30 or 40 times a day? So I'll just scan down. And I think I'll find something that's related to a blog post that I'm going to be writing. Hello. Hey, bud. Is that for me? Oh, you just became my favorite person in the world. Thank you, buddy. Kiss. Love you. Hummus and pita bread.
Bye-bye.
Bye, son. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just scanning down to see if there's something in particular that I want to be reminded of. I won't make you listen to me chew. Boom. Oh, gosh. Are you freaking serious? Sorry, guys. I didn't realize that I hadn't gotten off my face cam. You were just watching me eat. All right, that's what I want to put at the top. So I'm going to create a mirror of this. So so this is a template. So what I'll do, there we go. So what it means to have this here is that 30, 40 times a day, I'm going to see this progressive summarization method from Forte Labs and be reminded of it. So I understand the structure of it. So just by seeing that, I'll be thinking about the progressive summarization structure. And what I'm trying to do is figure out how to incorporate that into my life. So simply by placing it here several hundred times this this coming week, I'll be keeping that on in my mind so that I can begin to integrate that into a particular project that I'm doing. I don't know if anybody else does this in the whole world, but one thing I do is write a letter to my future self. Usually a week away, so I'll write a letter on Saturday for the version of myself that is going to be hopefully still alive this coming Friday. So it would be Friday, April 30th, David. And here's the reason I do that. I tend to make better decisions if I'm conscious of my future self. So for example, when I think about myself at 70, 80, 90 years old, let's say 70, and actually, like, I've tried to get acquainted in a sense. I listened to a podcast or something, and it was talking about some research that was done about the fact that people are not acquainted with their future selves. They're acquainted with their past selves, but try to ignore it very often. And they're mostly acquainted with their present self. So they're basically just thinking of themselves, but thinking of themselves specifically in the present. And it talked about this one particular study that was done by, I don't know who did this study, but somebody was studying this particular thing. And one of the tests that they did was they would, it was for somebody like who was being hired by a corporation. So the corporation agreed to do this. But as a part of the onboarding process where they were filling out their paperwork and filling in their tax forms and all that stuff, one group of people was right before they went in to fill out their tax form paperwork, the onboarding staff for the corporation had this conversation about what they would be doing after retirement. Like, what was their plans for retirement? And so for like 5 minutes, they discussed retirement. And as a part of that, there's this app, and it was probably on the computer, I guess, but it took a picture of the person and it ages them. And so as a part of this process, a person, number one, was talking about retirement, like thinking about, what if I was retired right now? What would I want to be doing right now? And, what would I financially need to be true in order to be able to do that? And then they saw this picture of themselves aged to age 65, just as a part of that process. And then the staff member, but for the sake of the research, immediately transitioned to filling in their what is it? Matching, is it IRA? Matching IRA? Whatever the investment portfolio that a company often will match, like up to $3,000. I can't think of the name of it right now. But they were asked, yes or no, do you want to contribute to this investment portfolio? And the people who had just had that conversation about what they wanted to do for retirement and saw a picture of themselves aged were like 95% more likely to check yes than the people who skipped that part of the process and just went straight to the tax form. And they were asked, basically, do you want to deny your future self a certain amount of money in order to invest in your, do you want to deny your present self a certain amount of money so that your future self can have the life that you think he will want? And that really struck me. That seemed really amazing. That simply a 5-minute little process radically changed the trajectory at that point of a scalable system, which is weekly or bi-weekly contributing to investments that's matched by your company. If, as long as they just don't uncheck that box or change it, they will have put, tens of thousands of dollars, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars away for their future selves. That really struck me, and that's why I write letters to my future self. Is at the very least, I want to be thinking a week out. Like, what can if I just decide what am I going to do today based on what my present self feels like, I'm probably just going to play Fortnite and drink a beer. But if I think about what do I want to be true for David 1 week from now, and if I think about that every day, it's actually on my daily flywheel, right? I think it's right here. Prescripted future self conversation. But if I can actually insert it here, that means 30, 40 times a day when I'm trying to come to get to this node, I will be conscious. I may not read the whole letter, which is usually just a paragraph or so. But I'll see that, and I'll be reminded of my future self. And is that going to radically change what I do? No, but I might get 5 or 10% more done every week over week, year after year. Simply by thinking, all right, Dave, you might want to relax right now, but you're thinking of, we're going to give a gift to Friday, Dave, of having got the stuff done that we planned on this week. So that's what that is. So yeah, I think what I'll do, I think that's good enough for now. I'll try it out this week, see if it even works. So today is a new day. One thing I'm grateful for is being able to hang out with you guys. It's kind of cool. I heard somebody say, like right now, looks like there's one of you. There's been 3 or 4 typically when I see who's watching. When I look over at my stream, there's usually 3 or 4 watching. And somebody, I saw like a TikTok, and it was talking about, that somebody who's streaming a game or streaming Fortnite, and there's 10 people watching relative to like the big streamers that have thousands or tens of thousands of people watching, and kind of making fun of them. And somebody said on TikTok, it's like, what it's like having somebody watch you on stream? It's like, what if 3 people were standing behind me watching me do Workflowy? That would be kind of crazy. And so someplace in the world, I don't know who's watching, but 2, 3, 4 people are sitting watching me just hang out, do Workflowy, which is pretty cool. So yeah, at some point today, I'll fill in this gratitude log with a couple other things. Let's see, 3 Readwise. I'll explain what these other things. Readwise, if you don't know about Readwise, and you like to read, and you hate losing the memory of what you've read. So you might read this great book, but then a year later you've forgotten about it. But there might have been 5 or 6 things that you highlighted in it or wanted to highlight. Readwise is this app that will take PDFs that you've highlighted, Kindle books. It integrates with, I'll pull it up here. It integrates with readwise.io. No, I'm already started. Dashboard. There we go. I don't usually look at it on my desktop. It looks different on my iPhone. So here's some things that I've imported, and so let's 4-hour work week. So these are highlighted things from the 4-hour work week. So here's an awesome, this actually ties directly in with something I think about. The choice is between multiplication of results using either strengths or incremental improvement fixing weaknesses that will at best become mediocre. I've recently taken the Strengths Finders test, which essentially is talking about that very thing. Do I want to multiply the results that I can produce by using my strengths, or do I want to multiply week after week the results of me trying to fix my weaknesses? The net effect of me working to my strengths will be exponentially larger. I mean, it's not. I actively try to do that. So anyway, what this is highlights from the book, The 4-Hour Work Week, and on the iPhone, it asks how many things do you want to be reminded of every day. So I've told it 3. So it sends me a notification every day. I click on it, and I review 3 highlights that it randomly selects from my highlights. So it just kind of brings those things back, 3 per day times 365. So, over 1,000 times I'm reminded of individual highlights. And that way I don't lose the benefit of the book. If I've found something to be particularly helpful, I can highlight it and then know that that's going to come back to me every couple of months, and I'll be reminded of it, so I can integrate it and synthesize it more fully into my thinking. Yeah, so that's what the Readwise quotes are. So I was just trying to figure out, is that something I can automate within Workflowy and automatically import it? I'll have to play around with that. Intuitive meditation outtakes. This is something new for me. I was working with a creativity coach that I'm doing a few sessions with. And he did this like intuitive meditation. I'm extremely analytical. My brain functions on a binary scale, this or that, and that's how I kind of process my whole life, is kind of on a binary level, and I'm constantly analyzing situations. And so what's been helpful with this creativity coach is he's helped me discover this whole other, I've got kind of 2 ways of thinking. I won't try and describe them right now. And he added this whole other way of thinking, which is just more intuitive. That's been profoundly helpful. It's been very interesting. And essentially you're just trying not to analyze. You're just trying to get to a more intuitive state and see what you think about. Just for a couple of minutes. It's been very, very helpful for me, because I'm not generally an intuitive thinker. So to actively just try to step back and try to process things a little bit more holistically and kind of think of the big picture has been very helpful. And usually it comes out with a little bit of insight that I think about for the next several days. So that makes me want to spend a couple of minutes in that intuitive meditative state. Which sounds kind of spiritual and lofty, all it is just kind of relaxing and thinking about life in general. That's what it feels like. So I'll probably log some of that there. All right, well, that was what I planned on doing, was do my weekly planning and play around with this a little bit. And that's exactly what I've done. So I'm going to close down my live stream for now. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it. Madeline, especially if you're still here, I really appreciate you helping me with the sound, because that would have sucked if I'd done this for 3 hours and nobody could really hear me. So I appreciate your help on the sound problem. If this has been helpful, or if you have some thoughts or some feedback, feel free to comment on the Workflowy, not Workflowy, but on the YouTube channel. Or if you're from the Slack group, you can comment on the Slack group.